Hello, I'm Justine Green with the BBC News. The United States top trade official says the US supports proposals for a temporary waiver of patent and related rules to help boost the supply of COVID vaccines. India and South Africa proposed such a waiver in the World Trade Organization last October, a move opposed mainly by developed countries. Our economics correspondent Andrew Walker reports.
Many developing countries have argued that rules requiring countries to protect patents and other forms of intellectual property are an obstacle to ramping up the production of vaccines and other products needed to tackle the pandemic. A statement from the US Trade Representative Katherine Tai supporting a waiver of these rules said the aim was to get safe and effective vaccines to as many people as soon as possible. The change in the US position under President Biden's administration is an important development that changes the shape of the debate in the WTO. But it's not in itself decisive, as the WTO makes its decisions by consensus.
The G7 has criticised China and Russia for failing to meet international standards. In a lengthy communiqué, Beijing was criticised for its treatment of minorities, particularly the Uyghur, its conduct in the South China Sea and its coercive economic policies. Moscow was called out for its destabilising behaviour, particularly against Ukraine, and malicious cyber attacks. The group of rich liberal democracies did not commit any new funds to the COVAX global distribution system. Facebook's oversight board has upheld the company's decision to suspend Donald Trump's account following his posts he made during the attack on the US Congress by his supporters in January. The independent panel said Facebook was right to bar the former president, but rejected the open-ended nature of the ban. Facebook has 6 months to make a proportionate response. The board's head of communications is Dex Hunter-Torek.
Facebook has a user community of billions of users. It is really important for the sake of fairness that the rules are clear and transparent and they apply to everyone equally. Facebook cannot make up the rules as it goes, even if they think it's really well-intentioned.
Parents of 29 students abducted in March from a forestry college in Nigeria say they've been released. The head of the Parents Association said police were taking them back to the northwestern city of Kaduna. From Abuja, here's Ishaq Khalid.
The release of the abducted students came just a day after their distraught families protested outside the Nigerian parliament in the capital Abuja, demanding more action from the authorities to rescue the captives. The college students were held for nearly 2 months by the gunmen. The release will be a huge relief for the victims and their families. It's not yet clear whether a ransom has been paid. The Kaduna state government has a policy against paying ransom to armed criminal gangs. More than 800 students have been kidnapped in Nigeria since December. Most of them have been released after negotiations with the abductors.
You're listening to the latest world news from the BBC. South Africa's governing African National Congress has suspended its Secretary-General Ace Magashule and warned other members charged with corruption that they too face suspension if they don't vacate their posts within 30 days. Mr Magashule denies charges of fraud, corruption and money laundering worth tens of millions of dollars. Mr Magashule is one of President Cyril Ramaphosa's main rivals. The government of Niger says 15 soldiers were killed on Tuesday in what it called a terrorist attack in the west of the country near the border with Mali. The Defence Ministry said heavily armed men had attacked troops taking part in an anti-jihadist operation in the Telabari region. A court in Rome has sentenced 2 US tourists to life in prison for the murder of a police officer. Mario Cecchella Rega was stabbed in the Italian capital late one night in July 2019. The confrontation arose after Italian police officers apprehended Finnegan Lee Elder and Gabriel Natale Hjorth on suspicion of drugs offences. Both Americans were on a summer holiday. They claimed they had acted in self-defence. The American retail entrepreneur and Amazon founder Jeff Bezos says he's now ready to put people in space on a rocket launch from Texas. The first flight is scheduled for the 20th of July. More details from our science correspondent Jonathan Amos.
Jeff Bezos was inspired by Apollo, and while building his online retail empire, has spent a big chunk of his fortune investing in his space hobby. His Blue Origin company has built a reusable rocket and capsule system called New Shepard, named after the first American astronaut and Apollo moonwalker, Alan Shepard. Mr. Bezos is going to sell tickets for what will be 10-minute rides in this system. Passengers reaching the top of the climb will experience some brief moments of weightlessness and get a view of Earth's curved horizon.
Jonathan Amos reporting, BBC News.